Two other real quick questions. One, New Zealand, Joe and I were just talking about it. Their numbers had been so good for what seemed like so long, and then all of a sudden, now it appears that there's a hot spot of a family. The country making some kind of claim that it might have come from freight as opposed to, community transmission, or maybe now it's community transmission, but maybe came in by freight. That's an argument that China had made around salmon being imported at one point. Does that make sense to you?
I find it hard to believe. And with an infectious disease like this, it's not hard to get it imported into a country. And it's also possible that it was circulating at a very low level and now it's being manifest. I mean, this does have the potential to circulate in a very low level for a period of time and then suddenly become manifest. You could have a chains of propagation that are very mild asymptomatic before you start to discover symptomatic cases. So I find it hard to believe that it came in on something, some inanimate object or some kind of food source.
Final question for you. You're seeing debates around the country with teachers' unions right now about whether they should go back or whether they shouldn't. And there's been a lot of pushback. If you were negotiating with teachers' unions, what would you be telling them, or even if you were advising them?
Well, I think the teachers have reasonable concerns about their own safety, and they have the reasonable concerns around their student safety. I'd be trying to provide for things that can improve safety in the classroom, certainly make sure teachers have proper protective equipment, give some optionality to teachers who are in a much higher risk situation. Maybe if you have a school that's going to have some distance learning and some in-class learning, if teachers feel that they're higher risk, maybe allow them to work on the distance learning portion of the program. And I think schools need to take significant precautions to prevent outbreaks in the school setting. We need to try to open the schools, but we can do it by retrofitting HVAC systems in the schools and having masking requirements and trying to move classes outdoors when we can, when the weather is still conducive to that, and de-densifying classrooms where we can, and keeping kids in pods. That's very important. So that way, if you have a single introduction, it doesn't take down the whole school. You just have to quarantine one pod, one class. So don't allow the entire school population to mix. There's a lot we can do to reduce risk in schools.
Doctor, we got to run, but if you're a betting man, there are some schools hoping to be in person this fall. Do they make it through the whole year? Not with just a day or two out, and I could see that happening, but do you see long stretches where schools are going to have to close down again?
I would guess that they will. I think they could get pretty far into the school year, but I think as we get into the winter, we're going to have more challenges with this before we get on the other side of this. We have another, 4, 5, 6 months to go. This is really going to be a 2020 event. Hopefully, once we get into 2021, we start to get this behind us.